Good morrow, fellow humans. My name's Sean and I am obsessed with infinity. So join me as I attempt to unpick the infinities of what is.
Much of what will unfold over the course of this series shall in some part be intended for and thus directed toward that loud and currently influential voice of the ever-rational material nihilist. Amid a time of social, political and mental unrest, as we have scrambled to make sense of a crisis in meaning and as individuals have sought to incorporate a 21st century rationality into their own private understandings of life, the universe and everything, this voice, above any other, has become increasingly dominant. A philosophy that might be encapsulated by the phrase, "In the grand scheme of things, my life is meaningless, because when I'm gone, I'm gone." Whether we choose to interpret this philosophy as a positive, negative, or indifferent creature, it is nonetheless one that has been encouraged, if not egged on, by our technology-fueled culture and its scientifically driven narrative. A voice that has forced much uncomfortable doubt into the religious teachings of prior generations, whilst at the same time supported an overt confidence in the materialist descriptions of what is and what is not real. And therefore, in respect of this peculiarly unique point in our history, it is important that we address this voice directly, as it's the role of philosophy to question all such pervading norms, regardless of how rational they might appear to our sensibilities. Equally, in cultivating these concepts for the modern-day nihilist, materialist, and/or atheist, I have granted myself a few small liberties in the assumption that those listening do already, or should, agree on the validity of certain significantly developed scientific theories, such as evolution, relativity, or quantum mechanics, in the sense that whilst all science must understand itself to be an open-ended process, science must also be considered a trustworthy mode of thought, capable of lighting our path as we strive to move beyond it. For if we are to ever shift our species' primary focus from simply seeking knowledge towards seeking wisdom, then move beyond it we must. Though it is with this now said that I can also address the religious at heart, of whose company I would never wish to discourage in any way. Because from within this following dissection of infinity and the infinite perspective, a consideration of God is not so easily dismissed. But regardless of each listener's own personal beliefs, the shared realisation of our modern landscape is that in many of today's increasingly secular societies, where science has drawn a curtain on what was once accepted in blind faith, and where the remaining hole in our heart is being filled by possessions, careers, and the importance of social status, it has become more important than ever that we take our own time to reflect and to wonder, to become self-aware and ask ourselves the big questions. So ask yourself, what is the deepest, most profound question you can think of right now? I'll give you a sec. Take your time, we're not in any hurry. So what did you go for? One of the classics like Why Are We Here? Or How Did All of This Begin? Is There a God? Or something more scientific like What is Time? Or Are We Alone? Are we a great simulation, hologram, or imagination? Why is there something rather than nothing? or an ever-popular favourite, why bother? Personally, I see this as an extremely useful practice. In fact, I feel I've been asking myself these questions my entire life. I can still recall the evening when I first became acquainted with the concepts of both death and infinity. I was only about 5 years old, and though it wasn't wholly dramatic, I do remember laying awake at night, disturbed to the point of distress, as I wrestled with two fundamental questions. What is the edge of space, and what will happen when I die? I remember feeling very lost and alone, like I was shrinking, becoming smaller and smaller, as if at any moment I might just wink out like a candle. This was the universal terror, familiar to us all, awoken in that crystallized moment when we first realized that one day we will leave all that we know and all that we have come to call home to disappear and never return. So, as I lay there, contorted in my bed, literally shaking with the fear, I recall my dad's silhouette passing across my bedroom door as he came and sat beside me. When I explained why I was so upset, he very quickly gave me two simple concepts to consider. Firstly, he asked, "Do you remember what it was like before you were born?" "No," I said. "Are you afraid of that time?" Having no real problem with the infinity that stretched out before my birth, I figured that if death was just to be a return to that, then perhaps there was nothing really to worry about. Dealing so swiftly with this first demon, I then inquired about the edge of space. If there is an edge, he said, like a big ice wall around us, then we have to ask ourselves, what's behind the wall? And if we continue past that wall until we find another, what's behind that wall? It was in these moments that the infinite nature of reality opened to me. Since then, I, like you, have fumbled my way into something resembling adulthood, and will now find myself bothering friends and family, chatting the night away about topics, ideas and issues, all of which stem from those same two original questions. So the more I've learnt, the more excited I've become about what it is that I truly am, and what it is that this reality might truly be. Like a never-ending bag of surprises, and such rewarding surprises they more often are too. Stories of our shared nature, stories that are free to all and willing to be revealed to anyone through even the timidest initiation into the wider collective of human thought, art and discovery. Perspective-changing revelations, many of which have only been discovered or confirmed within this last century, are now beginning to reinforce the messages that were once passed down by ancient teachers, forever drawing our attention to the existence of universal patterns, patterns that have the potential to give meaning to the meaningless, to lift the everyday anxiety of mortality and to offer us the all-important proof that we now all seem to require of our worldly explanations. Real-world evidence that can allow us to once again understand our connection with nature and the magic of reality as it exists in all of its beauty and majesty, like the gods of old, only without the contradictions, rules, or fear. Because, as it has been so often said, the more we know, the less we fear.
Thanks so much for tuning in again and spending your time with me. Just so you know, we're going to be doing a long-form version of The Infinite Now as a podcast, and that'll be available wherever you find podcasts. And I'll put a link below as soon as it's ready to go. Apart from that, just keep doing what you're doing. Much love. Bye-bye.